Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on autonomous data trust validation in Databricks Unity Catalog. I'm your host, Seth Rao, CEO of FirstEigen, and I'm joined by two of my co-hosts, Anshuman Datta, who is the CTO of FirstEigen, and Subramanian Iyer, who is the CEO of Speedboat Pro. We'll introduce Subramanian shortly. The format of this webinar is going to be the first 10 minutes. We're going to talk with Subramanian, who's an expert in Databricks and a former Databricks technology executive. And then we'll move on to the Databricks Unity Catalog and how autonomous data trust validation plays into making the Unity Catalog very powerful. So with that, first 10 minutes, Subramanian, welcome to the webinar. Glad to have you here. Why don't we start off with a quick introduction on you and Speedboat Pro.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you all for joining. My quick backstory is that I've been in the consulting industry for 20 years. I discovered Spark and Scala 10 years ago. Absolutely fell in love with it, became the expert on it, and then got the chance to join Databricks 4 years ago in 2019 as an architect and a team leader. And 4 years on, seen the company grow, seen the platform expand, and here I am essentially now running Speedboat, which is with a single mission, right? Get to the lakehouse fast. Every lakehouse needs a speedboat. So I'm focused on advanced consulting and training, and that's my pitch. Here to help.
Great. Thank you, Subramanian. So Speedboat Pro is a Databricks training company. Helps you get on the lakehouse real fast, efficiently, do the right things. And FirstEigen complements both Speedboat Pro and Databricks. We are an independent software vendor, a partner of Databricks. And our singular mission is make the world's best software for autonomously validating the trustability of data. So with that, I'm going to jump into a few more questions for Subramanian. So you, Subramanian, have a very unique perspective. You've seen how Spark has evolved. You've seen how Databricks has evolved. How has Databricks as a platform evolved on data governance?
Huge strides. I can tell you this, right? When I joined in 2019, the mission was just Spark. And it was to become the best Spark engine, the premium Spark experience, right? With the dawn of Lakehouse, with Delta Lake and Lakehouse, essentially the gamut widened significantly, right? And that's where Unity Catalog came in. Unity Catalog is a very elegant solution, if you ask me, to solve myriad problems that we had, especially with scale, right? Multiple meta stores, thousands of users, hundreds of thousands of tables in many cases. How do you make sense of all that, and how do you just wrap your arms around it was a huge problem. Unity Catalog solves that, right? With features like auditing, data lineage. So it's a huge leap. It still got some gaps, let me be honest. And that's where I think FirstEigen can come in, and even Databricks is doing things to make it better and better. But yeah,
got it.
I'll stop there, and then we can go into the details in the next questions. Yeah,
absolutely. So clearly, Unity Catalog brings a lot of benefits to the table, and you listed a few. And how is Unity Catalog different from a lot of other catalogs that are out there in the market? What makes it so special? A Databricks user, why should they pick Unity versus something else?
I think it's a great question, right? The first thing is that Unity Catalog doesn't cost you any extra money. It's a value add service that Databricks gives to all its users, right? So even you can go and buy Purview, you can buy Colibra, Atlin, whatever. That's going to cost you more money. First one. Second thing, is Unity essentially, there is this federation that happens behind the scenes. Okay, so you put a user in one workspace, it's automatically added to the Unity catalog, account level catalog, right? Things like giving shares, giving access to different people, data set level, object level, row level, column. It's super duper easy within Unity catalog. It's very transparent essentially. That's the key value. You don't need to do anything extra, and just works. Finally, I think the big ones are once things are on Unity catalog, a lot of new things that are cooking will become available to you again with no extra effort. And the big one, of course, is Lakehouse IQ. So we saw a demo of this at Data and AI Summit. Databricks is going to give a full Gen AI layer on top of Unity catalog, which means you can then make your queries in English. Okay.
Fantastic.
And it'll go and figure out what needs to happen.
So what you're saying is that unlike a regular catalog, which just probably tells you where the data is within your system, Unity catalog also gives the user the ability to govern the data, to give access controls, to give security, which does more than what any of the other regular catalog does. Fantastic. And of course, on top of the Gen AI
capabilities, which are like the cherry on top, right? Yeah.
Now, so a lot of this is improvements in the catalog space. What do you see are the limitations in terms of data quality and data trustability for Unity catalog?
Yep. I think that's the next frontier. Okay. So Databricks this is one of the things. It's come a long way in making life simpler for architects and for developers. But in the end, I think, and again, data quality is a huge frontier. On data quality, Databricks has made some inroads, has given expectation support in Delta Live tables, which is in the advanced levels, actually in the pro levels, the highest level. And it's got some checks and balances, right? That said, you need much more. Okay. And Unity catalog does not have any built-in checks per se for data quality. It's all in other pieces. So you need something on top of Unity catalog, which will give you confidence scores on what your data looks like, right? So it's not enough that I can discover what data is out there. I need to know how good the data is, right? And that doesn't exist. And right now, the only solution I have in my hand is I have to hand code the rules, which is not easy, and it's time consuming, right? So hand coding rules sounds great, doesn't work in principle as very well in the real world as well. Right? So that's something that we need to work on.
So what you're saying is that the most critical DQ problem that is overlooked in Databricks, and in all fairness, in every data platform records, every system of records, right?
Yes.
Is the ability to know the trustability of any data asset. And the reason it's important to know is that so you could catch the data errors as upstream as possible and go back to the source and ask for more accurate, more reliable, more trustable data. So by doing that, the benefit, what you're saying is that you would reduce the amount of compute, the amount of rework, and the impact on the business.
Absolutely.
And also, of course, with the growth in Gen AI, bad data is going to be something that the Gen AI platform is going to depend on, and you're going to start seeing more hallucinations if the data is not trustable to begin with.
Correct. So, not to mention the fact that retraining Gen AI is expensive, and you retrain on bad data, you could retrain it all over again. I think I saw a stat the other day that the Gen AI electricity bills are that of a small country, apparently. Okay, that much amount of energy is being pumped into Gen AI workloads. It is significant. I mean, it's going to cost you as a business owner, right?
Actually, you said something that's very important. We saw that recently with a customer as well, where some of their models got trained on 1 or 2 instances of bad data, 1 or 2, basically, 2 records of bad data in 100,000 records. And their prediction models were off for the next month or 2. which was amazing because the model learns it and it does not unlearn it. So feed it the good, right data right up front. So that's a great point. Now, what are your suggestions for, we have a lot of Databricks users here. What are your suggestions for, good data pipeline building strategies that you would recommend in a Databricks and maybe even other ecosystems?
This is actually first principles. It's not necessarily Databricks, right? I in my previous before I joined Databricks, I was building systems for this famous quick serve fast food company. I built stuff for the SEC. In every single case, we don't want to have the phone ring on us at 9 a.m. in the morning with some exec yelling, "Hey, why is this report looking wrong?" Okay, we don't want that. We want to catch things as early on as possible. I call it defensive programming. It may have, I don't know if I should trademark it, but the idea is the minute data comes to me from some upstream system, I can't guarantee what they're doing with it, but I can put the checks and balances right there as soon as it comes in, as soon as it walks in the door, right? Now, those checks and balances can be manually hand-coded expectations, or it can be some automatic data fingerprinting approach, right? Which tells me, hey, this data looks funny. It's not like yesterday's data. Watch out. Okay. So I'll always do this, like defensive at every single time, at every single step. Right.
Nice.
So that's my first rule of thumb for any coding. And then if something looks funny, you put circuit breakers. That's a big part of defensive programming, and the pipeline should fail. Your code should not make assumptions on what the data is, and right. So
absolutely. So in summary, what you're saying is two things: defensive programming, which people also call as proactive data validation. Don't reactively validate your data. And
absolutely.
Based on that, have circuit breakers in place so bad data does not get through your pipeline and corrupt all downstream systems. So fantastic. Now, with that, I am going to switch over to the main part of the webinar. And I hope you'll stay with us for the rest of the webinar because we're going to have a Q&A session in the end, and I'm sure there are going to be questions for you as well.